In Caracas, mothers of political prisoners and activists from the Committee for the Freedom of Political Prisoners, CLIPF, are on a hunger strike outside Zona 7 detention center, despite the recent release of 17 inmates. The protest was initiated by inmates who lost faith in government promises to free all political prisoners after an amnesty law, which remains controversial and unimplemented. Relatives and supporters were briefly satisfied when 17 prisoners, including labor leaders and an Ecuadorian hostage, were released earlier this week, but they insist on let them all go. Meanwhile, Jorge Rodriguez, a key Chavist figure, had previously claimed that all 700 political prisoners would be freed. The situation highlights ongoing tensions between the government and opposition over prison conditions and releases. Here's my take. The hunger strike outside Zona 7 is not just about prisoners, it's a clarion call for accountability and democracy. Venezuela's political drama continues too, with promises made and broken by those in power. The release of 17 prisoners is a drop in the ocean compared to the demands for justice. Meanwhile, Jorge Rodriguez's empty rhetoric underscores the regime's lack of commitment to rule of law. These mothers and activists are not just fighting for their loved ones, they're demanding a future where political prisoners aren't symbols of oppression but citizens who can live freely. The Chavist government must stop playing politics with human lives. For Venezuela, true peace begins with unlocking those doors for good.
Dr. Olga Chistik, a gastroenterologist at the Scandinavian Health Center in Moscow, has identified specific groups that should avoid eating beetroot. She warns that beetroot is contraindicated during acute gastrointestinal diseases, such as ulcers or high-acid gastritis, pancreatitis, hypotension, and thyroid gland dysfunctions. Chistik emphasized that while beetroot is often hailed as a superfood, its consumption can exacerbate certain health conditions. Here is my take. Here's the kicker: beetroot, the so-called superfood celebrated for its health benefits, isn't universally beneficial, and that's a crucial reminder in our age of wellness fads. Dr. Chistik's insights highlight the irony of a food being both praised and restricted based on individual health conditions. While beetroot is packed with nutrients, its high acidity and potential to stimulate the thyroid gland make it a double-edged sword. This story underscores the importance of personalized nutrition advice, a lesson we'd all do well to digest.
Canada is aware that Ukrainian nationalist Yaroslav Hunko, who is sought by Interpol, is not being extradited or prosecuted by Canadian authorities. Russian ambassador to Ottawa Oleg Stepanov highlighted this in an interview with RIA Novosti, arguing that Canada's actions violate the decisions of the Nuremberg Tribunal. The statement underscores tensions between Russia and Western nations over issues of justice and international law. Here is my take. This revelation raises questions about Canada's commitment to upholding international justice. By harboring a fugitive sought by Interpol while ignoring the principles set by the Nuremberg Tribunal, Canada risks setting a dangerous precedent. It not only undermines global cooperation but also sends a signal that some nations are above the law, a troubling development in an already fractured international order.
In a recent update, users have reported being blocked from commenting on a popular platform after violating unspecified rules. The block duration varies between 12 to 48 hours or could be permanent. Affected users are given the option to dispute the decision by filling out a form provided by the platform. This move appears to be part of efforts to enforce stricter commenting policies, though details about the specific violations remain unclear. Here is my take. This new enforcement measure raises more questions than answers. While platforms need guidelines to maintain order, the lack of transparency in rule application is concerning. Users are left in the dark about what exactly constitutes a violation, and the arbitrary block durations suggest inconsistent enforcement. The ability to appeal is a positive step, but it shouldn't be the only one. Perhaps the platform should clarify its rules up front and provide clearer channels for recourse. After all, user trust is hard to rebuild once lost.
In a recent update, social media platforms have introduced stricter measures for users who violate commenting guidelines. Users found in violation may face account blocking, with durations ranging from 12 to 48 hours or even permanently. The policy aims to maintain a safer and more respectful online environment. If users disagree with the blocking, they can appeal by filling out a provided form. This move reflects an ongoing trend of platforms enforcing stricter content moderation policies. Here is my take. This new enforcement strategy raises questions about free speech and user engagement on social media. While the intention is to curb harmful behavior, the lack of transparency in blocking decisions leaves room for potential abuse of power. Platforms must strike a balance between maintaining order and safeguarding users' rights to express themselves. Without clear guidelines or accountability mechanisms, such policies risk silencing legitimate voices while failing to address the root causes of online misconduct.
In Moscow on February 15, RIA Novosti reported that Marine Le Pen, leader of the French National Rally's parliamentary faction, along with her co-leader Jordan Bardella and Bruno Retailleau, head of the Republicans Party, called for accountability and punishment for those responsible for the death of a right-wing activist in Lyon. The incident has sparked political tension, with the leaders demanding justice and highlighting the growing divisions within French society. Here is my take. This call for retribution underscores the deepening polarization in France's political landscape. While the demand for accountability is reasonable, it also reflects a troubling trend of increasingly partisan rhetoric that risks overshadowing factual inquiry. By framing the activist's death as a rallying cry, these leaders may be fueling further division rather than fostering unity. The incident raises questions about how such tensions will impact France's broader political stability, and whether they will ultimately serve the interests of its people or just amplify existing schisms.
Liverpool advanced to the round of 16 of the English FA Cup with a convincing 3-0 victory over Brighton and Hove Albion. The match, held at Anfield, was dominated by the Reds, who struck 3 times in the second half. Curtis Gauntz opened the scoring in the 42nd minute. Dominik Szoboszlai doubled the lead in the 56th minute, following an assist from Mohamed Salah, who later sealed his place in history with a penalty kick goal in the 68th minute. Here is my take. Liverpool's performance was nothing short of scintillating. The way they dismantled Brighton, a team known for their defensive resilience, was a masterclass in attacking football. Dominik Szoboszlai continues to shine as a rising star, and Mohamed Salah's penalty conversion proved yet again why he remains the club's cornerstone. It's worth noting that while Liverpool showed clinical efficiency, Brighton seemed content with playing second fiddle, perhaps a recurring theme when they face top-tier opposition. This win isn't just about progression, it's a statement of intent for their cup campaign and beyond.
The Israeli newspaper, Israel Today, reported that Paragon Solutions, a cyber company, accidentally leaked images of its internal user interface for its surveillance software called Graphite on LinkedIn. These images revealed technical data, including logs, phone numbers, and encrypted messaging app information. The leak was criticized by cybersecurity experts as a serious security breach, given the secretive nature of such tools. Paragon markets Graphite to government entities, enabling them to hack smartphones, access messages and photos, and remotely control cameras and microphones without users' knowledge. Details about how the images were published remain unclear, though Dutch researcher Joran van der Berg claimed Paragon's legal advisor may have accidentally uploaded them. Here is my take. This latest leak by Paragon Solutions raises unsettling questions about the safeguards surrounding powerful surveillance tools. Imagine an oyster opening its shell just long enough for a pearl to slip out, except in this case, it's not a pearl but the inner workings of a tool designed to spy on people without their consent. The fact that such sensitive software was left exposed, even if accidentally, underscores a disturbing reality. These companies are selling weapons of mass surveillance with little accountability. Graphite joins a long list of tools like Pegasus, which have become symbols of ethical failure and human rights concerns. The irony is glaring. Paragon is helping governments spy on citizens while struggling to secure its own systems.
Jeffrey Epstein, a controversial American businessman accused of running a network of crimes against minors, rose from a modest upbringing to become a confidant of billionaires. Despite lacking formal academic credentials, Epstein leveraged his soft skills in networking and manipulating elite circles to climb the financial ladder. He started as a math teacher at New York's Dalton School, using his relationships with influential figures like Alan Greenberg, president of Bear Stearns, to advance his career. By 27, he became a partner at the investment bank but faced no consequences after misusing funds. Epstein later founded J. Epstein & Company, targeting only ultra-wealthy clients, which granted him access to elite circles and their protection. Here is my take. Jeffrey Epstein's life story is a chilling expose of how money and power can create a parallel justice system where the law bends to serve the elite. His rise from a modest background to the corridors of financial power highlights the dangerous allure of soft skills in a world where connections often trump merit. Epstein's ability to exploit his relationships not only facilitated his crimes but also revealed a disturbing truth: when the powerful protect each other, justice becomes an illusion. His downfall, however, underscores that no system built on exploitation and secrecy can withstand the light of scrutiny indefinitely. Epstein may be gone, but the questions he raises about accountability and the price of unchecked power remain unsettlingly relevant.
#Summary The Saudi Cup, held at the King Abdulaziz Racecourse in Riyadh, saw history repeat itself as Forever Young, owned by Japanese breeder Sisuma Fujita, claimed victory for the second consecutive year. The event, featuring a global elite with diverse cultural attire, boasted $36.9 million in prize money across various races. Under trainer Yoshito Yahagi and rider Royce Sakai, Forever Young secured its legendary status. Other notable wins included the Asian Racing Union Cup won by Tazim and the Arab.
Here is my take. _future. Choices.
At the Spring Festival gathering in 2026, General Secretary Xi Jinping highlighted the significant achievements of the past year, emphasizing China's strategic resolve and progress despite global challenges. He called for a focus on high-quality development, innovation, and domestic stability, while urging unity and resilience to overcome future obstacles. The speech underscored themes of perseverance, technological advancement, and delivering tangible benefits for the people, as China aims to achieve its long-term goals through collective effort. Here is my take. General Secretary Xi's address is a masterclass in strategic messaging, blending inspiration with pragmatic realism. While much of the world grapples with uncertainty, Xi's call to gallop forward reflects a calculated confidence, rooted in China's ability to adapt and innovate. What stands out is his emphasis on internal cohesion and resilience, implicitly acknowledging that external pressures will persist but domestic progress remains key. This speech isn't just about grand visions, it's a rally cry for execution, reminding us that even as China rises, the journey requires steadfast resolve and attention to detail.
The Paris Public Prosecution has designated a judge to analyze newly disclosed Epstein case documents, focusing on potential connections with French citizens. Collaborating with the National Financial Prosecutor's Office and Judicial Police, they aim to launch an investigation. The probe includes Jean-Luc Brunel, Epstein's late partner, who faced charges of rape and trafficking before his death in custody. Additionally, French Foreign Minister Le Drian revealed that senior diplomat Fabien Aydin is implicated, leading to administrative and disciplinary actions. Aydin, a high-ranking official, exchanged emails with Epstein between 2010 and 2017, raising questions about his involvement. Here is my take. The unfolding investigation into the Epstein case highlights disturbing ties within France's elite. The revelation that a senior diplomat was in contact with Epstein for years without scrutiny underscores concerns about accountability. Questions linger: why were these connections not flagged earlier? This case demands transparency to restore public trust and ensure justice isn't overshadowed by powerful figures' alleged complicity.
Here is my take.
People's Daily, one of China's most prominent media outlets, has released detailed contact information and legal credentials on its official website. This includes reporting hotlines and emails for illegal or unhealthy content, as well as service emails and phone numbers for customer inquiries. The platform has also made public its various licenses, including its Internet News Service Permit, Audiovisual Program Broadcasting License, and ICP certificate. These steps demonstrate the outlet's commitment to transparency and compliance with legal requirements, while also reaffirming its copyright policies and prohibiting unauthorized use of its content. Here is my take. People's Daily has once again shown its dedication to maintaining trust and accountability in its operations. By publishing such detailed information, it not only adheres to regulatory standards but also empowers users to engage directly with the platform. This move reflects a growing trend among media outlets to prioritize transparency in an era where public scrutiny is intense. While some might criticize the lack of sensational news in this announcement, it's worth celebrating that major platforms are taking responsibility for their policies and practices. Kudos to People's Daily for leading by example. La primera edición del Benidorm Fest 2026, un concurso musical independiente que no selecciona al representante de Eurovision. Corono ganador al dúo gaditano Tony Grox and Los Cycles por su canción Te Amar con 166 puntos. La Paisa, fusionando races flamencas y vanguardia electrónica, les otorgó 150.000 euros. Un trofeo de Serena Dorada y una oportunidad de grabar en Estados Unidos con Univision. Asha, por su tema turista, recibió la invitación de Spotify para grabar un sencillo en Estocolmo. El evento, que se ha convertido en la preselección oficial de la Vuelta Ciclista a España, destacó por su apuesta cultural y por el impacto viral de Te Amar en YouTube. El jurado profesional respaldó a Asha con 94 puntos, mientras el televoto finalizó coronando a los ganadores. Here is my take. El Benidorm Fest 2026 hectares marcado un precedente histórico no solo por su estructura innovadora, sino por su valiente enfoque cultural y LGBTQ+. La reapropiación de insultos y tópicos como herramienta de resistencia fue clave, demostrando que el arte puede transformar hasta las palabras más hirientes. Sin embargo, esta audacia también plantea preguntas, ¿y es suficiente la plataforma para permitir estas expresiones sin dilapidar su impacto? Mientras algunos aplauden este giro arriesgado, otros advierten de posibles excesos. Lo cierto es que el festival ha abierto un debate necesario sobre la libertad versus responsabilidad en la música. Felicidades a los ganadores y ARTVE por crear un espacio donde la diversidad no solo se celebra, sino que también transforma.
The article, written by an external contributor to ELPAS, reflects on the possibility of political unity in Spain, using Valentine's Day as a metaphor for love and cooperation. It imagines a scenario where the PSOE and PP could work together to exclude Vox from governance in Extremadura. The piece contrasts this ideal with the harsh realities of U.S. politics, where democratic norms are under threat, and calls for a Valentine's Day miracle to heal divisions. The author emphasizes the importance of hope and unity in countering growing resentment and political extremism. Here is my take. The article is a heartfelt plea for political harmony, wrapped in a Valentine's Day narrative that feels both idealistic and timely. While its vision of bipartisanship is commendable, it risks glossing over the deep-seated mistrust between Spain's major parties. The comparison to U.S. fascism is stark but necessary, underscoring how fragile democracy can be. Ultimately, the piece serves as a reminder that hope, however fleeting, is a powerful tool in politics, even if it feels like wishful thinking.
In recent weeks, Spanish banks have sent out annual letters to millions of customers, detailing financial information about accounts and payments made in 2025. These communications, required by law, include fees for active contracts, interest rates on current accounts, loan summaries, and mortgage details. Customers are advised to compare their expenses with the average costs published by the Bank of Spain. Key findings reveal that consumer loans should not exceed an average rate of 6.5%, while mortgages should be capped at 3%. Many households are paying significantly more than these benchmarks, particularly those with high-interest revolving cards, average rate over 18%, and older mortgages from the financial crisis. Here is my take. This annual bank letter is more than just a legal formality, it's a wake-up call for Spanish consumers to take control of their finances. The figures are startling. Millions are paying way over the average rate on loans and mortgages, with some stuck in costly revolving card schemes that trap them in debt. Banks have a responsibility to make this information clear, but it's up to customers to demand better terms. The good news is that the law is on their side. Renegotiation without fees is possible for fixed-rate mortgages, and account fees should be negotiable. This isn't just about saving money, it's about empowering consumers to challenge banks and hold them accountable for fair pricing. If you're paying more than 6.5% on a loan or 3% on a mortgage, ask why, and demand they bring your rates in line with the rest of the market.
El Partido Socialista Obrero Español, PSOE, se enfrenta a un nuevo escándalo de acoso sexual involucrando al alcalde de la Algaba, Diego Manuel Aguirre. Según una denuncia interna al PSOE, Aguirre acosó durante meses a un menor de edad, estudiante de la Escuela Municipal de Toromaquia, enviando mensajes sexuales explícitos y proposiciones a través de Instagram. La denuncia, presentada el 13 de enero, revela que Aguirre se aprovechó de su posición de poder como alcalde y responsable de la escuela para asuntar al joven, utilizando tácticas manipulativas para ganar su confianza. Aunque las conversaciones fueron borradas parcialmente, el denunciante asegura contar con pruebas y testigos. Aguirre negó las acusaciones, atribuyéndolas a una vendetta por el cierre de la escuela. Here is my take, este escándalo desnuda una vez más los abusos de poder que pueden surgir cuando figuras públicas como los alcaldes se convierten en predatorias. Lo preocupante no es solo la conducta de Aguirre, sino como el PSOE respondió con un mes de silencio antes de actuar. Este retraso envía una señal peligrosa, que las denuncias internas dentro del partido pueden ser ignoradas o minimizadas. Además, el uso del grooming infantil, como táctica para ganar la confianza del menor subraya un problema estructural en como se manejan relaciones de poder en instituciones públicas. Mientras los detalles de este caso siguen siendo revelados, queda claro que hasta las figuras más cercanas a la comunidad pueden convertirse en peligrosos abusadores si no hay mecanismos robustos para proteger a los vulnerables.